and I did Salem's Lot, and I don't think I've ever told you this story.
No, I don't think so.
And giant budget Warner Brothers miniseries, and the little plastic graveyards, Frankensteins, and all of that. I said, well, no one had those anymore. The
Ravel Monster Kids.
Yeah, Monster Kids. And I called Bob from LA, and I said, you know, Bob, can you find them? He said, I'll take a look around. And he found them. He put them together and painted them. And I said, you know what, send the bill to Warner Brothers. $25 bill, he said. I said, Bob,
This is Warner Brothers.
make it 50. And we remained dear friends until we lost him 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. For those of you who know Dave Schmoller's Tourist Trap, that's Bob Burns. Poltergeist, Bob Burns. Lots of incredible films. Woo! There's a question over there.
You talked about how your visual language is so frequently imitated since your film. I feel like the soundtrack is still lying and people are still chasing that one. Can you talk a bit about the soundtrack?
Yeah.
The question is about the soundtrack, which is as insanely unique as so much of the cutting and the shots are. That soundtrack is so ahead of the curve. We talk about it.
Yeah, I was cutting the movie in my living room, and then I had a little bedroom that I had all these broken instruments, cans, and African instruments, kotos, and bass fiddle, and it was even better if the things were broken, and so I built all the sounds and mixed them and cut them into the film. So anyway, I'd go to the living room and take a look at a sequence, and then Wayne Bell and myself would go back into the little music room. We'd bang away, and I say, you know, that sounds good. That sounds good. And then, you know, cut them in layers. And Buzz Nixon from Todd Ale, who mixed the music. Now, Buzz was either a 6 or 7 time Academy Award winner he did Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, he did The Exorcist. Actually, there are some sound effects like the birdcage rattling that I borrowed Bill Friedkin's Foley from drinking, bed springs when Reagan is freaking out.
Friedkin was a mentor of Tobe's and literally called Tobe and said, come to LA. So there was a lot of relation there.
Yeah, and I got a deal at Universal and was with Bill. He's a great guy.
One of the shots that I will always remember is the first time I watched this was the wasps in the corner of the room, and you cut to the close-up of the wasps with the buzzing, just being terrified and not knowing why. Other questions? David? Oh, all right, well, come on with
I wanted us to know about the teeth.
the teeth. The question's about the teeth.
Yeah, were the teeth real, or did you have to make those teeth?
No,
Are teeth real or do they have to make?
Bob Burns found a dentist that had a lot of teeth. And they were real.
Other questions? Yes, over here.
So having seen the 35 million print and having seen the visual print, I mean, what is that? I've heard watching for my entire life, and so this is the next filmmaker is like my favorite short film of all time. So phenomenal to see it in digital now. What is your experience like going from that journey, starting a film and now seeing everything in digital? Like, what's your opinion?
He's asking about having seen the 35 million print, having seen the digital print, growing up loving this film. What was your experience like, on the voyage of this film?
Well, it was 16, so it was A and B roll, and it was stored at the original. The A and B rolls was sitting in a windowsill at New Line for about 10 years, exposed to, I mean, in cannons, but exposed to the heat, to the cold, to the, and the emulsion was literally peeling away from it. So the only, you know, these restorations take so long to do because, I mean, it's alpha rhythm stuff, you know, and paint each frame back in. And so I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for digital, too. I mean, of course, everyone would much rather shoot on film, but it's inevitable that, you know, that things will go digital. So, and you can do a lot in post and digital that you can't do with film.
Up there.
Mine kind of piggybacks on his. I've watched this movie for probably like 20 years. It's like my favorite horror film. But I've always wanted to know how you created that screeching sound on the soundtrack that is like forever ingrained in my brain.
Yeah.
What was that?
The question is that he's watched this movie for 20 years, and how did they create that screeching soundtrack? That screeching sound that is forever embedded in all our subconscious.
It's a tuning fork, you know, whacking it and then putting it down on a broken koto string. Now, trying to recreate it, you can't recreate it digitally. Really, it has to be analog, but because there's a slowing down and speeding up process that in digital, you can hear the spaces. And, you know, as you probably know, when you try to slow down or speed up, you know, unless you make overlays. But it was basically that, and it may have been a violin, but it was, you know, hitting the tuning fork and taking the little handle that you hold it by and touching it on stringed instruments.
We should take a couple more questions.
With contact mics.
Am I missing anybody up there? Right up the way up there.
Yes. How do you feel now about when the movie was banned in several countries when it hit home video? How do you feel now about that?
The question is about when the movie was banned in several countries.
Yeah, it was banned. It was banned in the UK for 23 years,
Yeah.
and I bought the first VHS. I bought at Harrods actually in London, and I thought that it was a part of the video nasty thing, but it wasn't. It was, and I forgot. There's a very good documentary that Kim Newman is in, and explains that whole period of time. But I mean, it was just out and out banned for intensity and. You know, although I was able to get an R rating here because things are suggested more than you know, you imagine some of the things like panning down Pam to the wash tub. You know what the wash tub is for, and you fill in the rest with your imagination. I don't. To answer your question, I don't really know how I feel about that. I haven't decided, and at this point, it has been, now, you know, it's possible to release it on the screen in those countries, but they, you know, they all have videos of it, yeah, and a couple of other countries.
Thank you.
I guess I'm pissed off about it.
Is there a final question? All right, well. What? All right.
I go for
Red hat.
I'm originally from Texas, and this is like such a fundamental like Texas movie, and it was a pleasure to really sit like 4 feet from you and watch it. what was the inspiration for shooting it in Texas, and was there a reaction from, you know, backwoods weird people that said that they weren't like that, or was there some sort of, you know, backlash from the Texas community, or did they enjoy it thoroughly?
Well, it was shot in Texas because I lived in Texas.
Yeah.
And I had a little film studio. I had partners in a little film studio, and I had my own equipment. I shot it on a 16 millimeter NPR Eclair, and did rent some equipment. And the impaled corpse, you know, with the tombstone up its ass at the beginning of the film. I was shooting that was made, it was a homemade Luma, or Luma, I forgot what it's called, but a homemade crane that pulled back. And there were some people out there, and there had already been some press about it, and this was like in post-production, but, you know, going back and adding that shot. There were some guys out there talking and said, "What are you shooting?" And I told him the title, and I said, "Oh, that's a film we can't wait to see." And it did, you know, it was loved in Texas.
Well, this has been a privilege and a treat, and I love Tobe Hooper. Like, I love few people, and thank you all.